Big changes are happening at the Dane County Regional Airport. You may have noticed some hard hats and construction signs if you made a trip there to the airport. NBC 15's Gabriella Rusk shares an update on the South Terminal expansion project.
It's the single largest expansion project in the airport's 84-year history, and a portion of the South Terminal is set to open up later this spring. These are just some of the renderings of what the terminal will look like when it's all said and done. Construction began in 2019, and even though COVID-19 delayed it, the airport made the decision to keep the South Terminal expansion project going. MSN Airport Director of Marketing Michael Ricker says most of the work was done during the pandemic, and this meant there wasn't any major disruption to flights or service at the airport.
Even today, as demand is continuing to rise, the South Terminal is going to open up and be able to turn passengers or turn airplanes here in the near future without ever skipping a beat. We never had to turn airplanes away or restrict passengers or restrict service based on the construction itself.
The South Terminal will add 3 new gates to the airport, allowing for more flights or the addition of new airlines. Phase 2 of the expansion project involves demolishing an old part of the structure and rearranging seating at the new gates. Everything should be fully finished by November, just in time for holiday travel. In the studio, Gabriella Rusk, NBC 15 News.
Thanks, Gabriella. And you can watch her special report on the sky-high travel demand tonight on NBC 15 News at 10 to understand what's impacting the cost of airfare and flight availability.